This is Business Therapy, healing businesses from the inside out through communication and emotional intelligence. I'm your host, Diane Hansen, management consultant, and with me is Christine Salvo, therapist, certified mediator, and certified hypnotist.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. And today we are talking about how the world has changed in the last month through multiple methods, but definitely the way you network for your business.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, it used to be we would have a coffee date and we'd send a message and do you want to have a coffee date, or we'd go to a networking event and we'd actually shake hands with people and then set up connections. But now it's different
Well,
because
first of all, there's 10 or more people there. And
yes,
second of all, now we have to stay at home.
yeah, social distancing has made it all different, all very, very different. So, whereas before we could shake hands, we could, make eye contact across the room, even we could see someone's name tag. If we're at a networking event, we can't do any of that now. So, how in the world do we stay connected and network with new people while we are socially distanced?
I love this topic. I think that it's relevant not just for what we're going through right now, which is it's such a testament of time. This has never happened before. I truly hope it never happens again. But wow, what a shaker upper this last month has been. And really, from the bottom of my heart, I keep thinking life is going to be different now. There's going to be some things that just kind of that keep going, but there's definitely going to be changes. And I'm guessing that how we network and how we do business is one of them.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I've heard of geosocial networking applications. I had Shaper on my phone and Opportunity, and I just learned about Meetpreneur,
Which I have
uh,
on my phone.
which you have on your phone. But the one thing that has become glaringly obvious, and it was obvious before on platforms like LinkedIn, is how people have kind of lost the art of the relationship.
Right. Now,
Yeah,
this is actually, I feel like this is before what's happening now, right? So the epidemic
absolutely.
and the virus and all
Yeah,
this kind of stuff. And I want to make sure that we're not focusing so heavily just on that aspect, because I think there's so much of this that's just universal now, that we have lost an element of humanity and of connection. And it's so easy to kind of like send the quick text, but not make the phone call. And I know businesses are impacted by this too. Not only that, but the loss of small talk of just how are you today, and more about the like cut to the chase. What do you want?
yeah, yeah, that's exactly true. And you and I have been having conversations on Marco Polo, and not about anything in particular, and not necessarily a goal to it, just checking in, saying, "Hey, how are you doing?" And I think
Yeah,
that's really important. But especially when we're talking about the human side of business and thinking about now, gosh, we can't be in offices unless we're essential employees and we're required to be in a doctor's office or a therapy office or hospital or somewhere like that. We don't have that face to face connection, that person to person, one to one. I can feel your energy because we're in the same room kind of thing.
right.
And it's so hard to tell what people are thinking or intending in a text, that it's almost more important to keep up on a regular basis with people to get the sentiment of where they're at.
Yeah.
And actually, there was a really good example of that. I was speaking to someone who is basically sheltering at home and has a team underneath them. They work with other teams as well throughout the company. So it's a bigger company. He was just reaching out to the head of this department asking, Hey, how are things today? And
Mhm.
the response that came back is, what do you need?
Right.
If you're in an office environment, someone stops by and says, good morning. You don't say, what do you need?
Right. Well, some people do. But that's exactly why we have this show, because we're really trying to change that. We're trying to bring
Right,
back that
right.
humanity
No,
of
exactly.
have the talk by the water cooler as long as it's not gossip and toxic.
Right, right. And there's a certain element to business that is, a little bit lighter. You don't have to be so all the time.
Mhm.
And I think even digitally, that's so important because I mean, for example, if you're meeting on Zoom, you can tell very quickly if a person is engaged or not engaged when they're
Right.
on camera. You can tell if I start fiddling with my phone. You can tell if I'm typing on something. You can tell if I'm not with the conversation. And in the challenge, even recording this show from home, was that I have to keep my own time for the show now. I have to manage the outside distractions for the show. And all of this comes together. And then, I have to accomplish A, B, and C today.
Right.
It becomes difficult. So to have the human element of,
Yeah.
I see you, I see what you're going through.
Mhm.
Um, let's have some compassion. Another circumstance is that as I was consulting, there is a VP who is now at home and they have a new baby and they have pets. And she's in her part of the house in her home office, which they made for her in the kitchen. And he is in the actual office, but he's trying to stay focused, trying to stay on it right now. And in the background you hear the baby crying.
Yeah, I'm loving that you're bringing this up because it's so relevant.
Hmm.
Managing the distractions, managing your own time.
Yeah.
I the other day, I'm gonna share this. This is hilarious, I think. It was last week. I was late to work and I'm working from home. And I'm
Wow.
wondering how many other people have experienced that, right? It's like my bedtime has gotten later. My wake up time has gotten later, and
Mhm.
oops, I slept in. And guess what? I had to be at work, which was at home, but I was still running and rushing late.
Wow.
Like you said, managing the children, managing the animals, managing the background noise of your partner or your person at home or the other people you're living with. And although there seems to be this element of like we're all working at home, must be easier. How I feel personally is when I go to work, it's easier there, right? All my stuff is there. I don't know if this is true for anybody else listening, but all of my stuff is at work, all the stuff that I use every day that I need. And I don't really want to pack it home, right? So kind of like being on my toes a little bit and being flexible and like what can I use instead and how can I do this, and also as you said, managing the people. I have children and they've literally had to be in their rooms while I'm working because the work that I do is confidential. And so it's like, okay, I'm going to work now, don't come out of your room until I tell you. And so there's really some serious aspects to this that we have to take into consideration, even just recording our show. We have
Right.
a time, we have a place, we have an engineer, we have no distractions. It's a place to just be, and it's showing up in all these different aspects and elements of our lives.
Absolutely. And I think it's so important to keep in mind that everyone's in the same boat right now.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we get into trouble in business, is that we forget the other person's shoes. Like we forget that well, I have something to accomplish. I forget what your side of it might look like, or where your side of it may appear. So I think one of the biggest disservices to business education came about, and I think this was the 90s, the advent of the elevator pitch and
Yeah.
the encouragement of, tell me in 30 seconds what you do and why I should buy from you.
Mhm.
And the idea, quite honestly, of getting stuck in an elevator with someone and having them try to sell me is an absolute stinking nightmare.
So I'm going to tell you from a therapist perspective. When I travel, like on an airplane, I never tell people what I do, ever, especially if it's a long flight. People will say, hey, what's your name? Where are you going? What you doing? And I keep it very vague because in the beginning of my career, I made the mistake and I told everybody what I do. And guess what I was doing for the next 4 to 6 hours,
Free
unwillingly on my
therapy
vacation,
sessions.
wherever, on my own vacation, my free time, I'm in my dress down clothes, I'm comfy, I've got my earphones, I've got my book, I know what I want to do. And guess what I'm doing?
Therapy. Yep.
Right. So it can work both ways, right? So
Mhm.
I keep it quiet, not because I don't love what I do. I'm very passionate about what I do, but I also have really healthy boundaries around that.
Right.
There's a time and a place. There's a specific way. Um, clearly, right? So for those of you out there, when you're in contact with a mental health therapist, a marriage and family therapist, somebody in that sort, ask them first. Just take that extra 2 seconds of like, hey, would it be okay if I asked you a few questions? And then keep it literally to a few questions. Not to divert, but it's a
No,
thing.
no, it wasn't a diversion at all because LinkedIn is kind of this field of dreams, so to speak, where, oh, I could look up anybody. I could find the decision maker at that company in 2 minutes and be in front of them in 1 minute. And what most people are doing is they're just throwing out the elevator pitch. So, the inbox becomes like almost junk mail
Yeah, tell me a
instead
little
of
bit
real
about that.
connections.
I don't
So
I don't have that experience.
so it becomes this it's almost like you open up your inbox and everyone based on what you have said in your profile. So I'm a management consultant. So I have people who try to pitch me on here's how you can make more sales. Here's how as a consultant you can do this and as a consultant you can do that. And I'm like, did I ever say I was interested in that? Did
Mhm.
I ever say? And then they have the automated stuff that you can send. So when it's my
Mm.
birthday, I get happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday. Here, let me sell you something. Happy birthday. and I recently added a client to my profile and I got congratulations on the new job. 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 I can 10 times your sales. Oh,
Right.
oh, okay. Your thanks for the offer. I mean, it's kind of like saying you're, you're out, you're going about your day, you're minding your own business, and all of a sudden a guy walks up to you and says, "Hi, how you doing? Happy birthday. Will you marry me?"
um, I think
um
there's a Carrie Underwood song about that. I don't even know your last name, right?
right. But this is how people do business. And now that we are sheltered in place, we have the internet to network, and we have networking meetings on Zoom, and we have geosocial networking applications like a Meetpreneur or Shaper or Opportunity or something like that. And I think it's really important to loop it all together to really consider, what's the human side of
Yeah,
networking? What
definitely.
is the human side of what you're
Especially
trying to accomplish
digital.
here?
Well, I'm not going to say just digital, but I think that that's important to emphasize that because this may be how things are for a minute.
It's
We don't
topical.
know how long this is going to go on.
We don't.
And we actually don't even know how we can maximize on this. There's a lot of opportunity here. And so there's a possibility that this may be the new way for a lot of people after this is over. So, talking about what happens next.
Exactly. I bought this new microphone for the show, and yeah, my regular earbuds with a little buzz mic could have been just fine for it, but something told me that it was time to do a little bit of leveling up myself.
Mhm.
So I do think that there are going to be many ways that stick. And if we can make good behaviors stick, they're going to stick when we get face to face too. One of the things that I say in a networking situation, instead of diving into who I am, I just say, "Hi, it's nice to meet you. What's your business?"
Mm. So you start with them.
I start with them because when I start with them, then they can launch into what their business is. And all I do the entire time is ask questions. I don't tell them
Nice.
a thing about me until they ask.
So when you decide to ask them questions, are you basically kind of feeling them out if there's an opportunity for networking there, or basically like it's great to know
No,
your service, but we're not going to be a match?
no. See, this is the beauty of a relationship. If I meet somebody and I just want to be friends, I am not pre qualifying them to be my friend.
True. Mm-hmm.
I'm not pre qualifying someone, but business tells us you have to pre qualify.
Right.
Not
That's a
really.
major misconception.
And you
And
do if
then
you
people's value is based on what they can offer instead of you're just a really cool person and maybe I could see you working for me in 5 years.
it's very utilitarian to be having conversations based on what's in it for you right
Right.
then at that moment. And when we can get to the point of curiosity, when we can get to the point of building connection, building relationships, relationships are the nexus of business. But deeper than that, business only gets done when there's trust.
Absolutely. And that kind of reminds me of when you first started this and you were talking about the kind of like, what do you want? And that's very dismissive. So the value, it's basically unless you have something to offer me,
Yep.
I'm not interested. You don't get 3 minutes of
Unless
my
you
time.
want something from me or you can give me something, step off.
Right.
How rude.
It is. It's almost like, when you're the popular kid in high school and you're just like, and you're talking to me, why?
Exactly, exactly. And it doesn't really leave any room at all for what the opportunity may be.
Hmm.
So if I have this idea, if I have this single focused idea that I'm going to make someone my consulting client, I mean, I don't know if they have that need or not. I don't
Right.
know if there's value in that or not. And if I, in the first 30 seconds, am trying to sell someone on that, how awkward because you don't know. I mean, the thing is that nobody would do this if someone hadn't gotten lucky.
Right. Oh, I like that.
Yeah. So nobody would do this. Nobody would do this elevator pitch if someone didn't get lucky. When someone didn't just walk up to the right person at the right time and say the right thing, and then there was business right then.
Yeah.
So when something works for us, we cling to it as business as usual. And
Right.
this is a big part of my critical opportunity theory is that when something works for us, whether it's emotionally, whether it's a habit, whether it's something, when it works for us, we build that
Yeah.
into our model of being.
And we want to replicate it,
Yeah. Yeah. And
right?
we do unconsciously.
So there isn't really a lot of room for flexibility and I'll bring this to kind of families like I always do. I see this a lot of time in relationships where it's you said in the beginning you didn't like zucchini and 20 years later you say you do, and it's how did you break the script, and what, because I knew the thing that you liked and now you don't like it and now you say you like something else, and then people get very, very confused by that because they take one thing somebody said a long time ago and make it doctrine, and
Yep.
there's no room for flexibility and there's no room for change, but unfortunately we all change. I used to hate broccoli. I like it now. No, I don't know why. I just it just happened, right? And sometimes we just change and it just happens, but we have to build in that room for flexibility.
Yeah, and we have to be open to where the relationship is going to go. I have the saying, I say, I am finite. The universe, spirit, whatever it is out there is bigger than me, is infinite. Who
Absolutely.
has better ideas?
Right.
And if I am single tracked mind on my outcome, this is my outcome, this is my outcome, I I I just crush myself right there. I have no flexibility, I have no agility, there's no way I can pivot. There's no way that I can adjust to the situation when outside environments change. And this is where a lot of people are struggling right now.
Exactly.
For
Right
as
here.
many people who are coming in and saying, I'm going to embrace technology, I'm going to go to my networking groups online, for as many people are doing that, there are people who are shut in, who are saying, my business is dead.
Yeah.
My social life is dead. My relationship is dead because this change, I have no control over it. And and that ability to adapt, that ability to be flexible is so important because once you can let go of what you thought should have happened, I call it mourning the fallen expectation.
Mm-hmm.
Once you can let go of what you think should have happened, you can then
Yeah.
embrace what is possibly even better than what
Right.
could have happened. But it's that clinging that we do. It's that
Well,
clinging to the outcome.
absolutely.
And
Right.
that's what the awkward sales pitch moments are all about. It's like
Yeah.
I have a quota. I have to meet this quota.
Right.
Therefore, I'm going to send this message to 500 people.
Mm-hmm.
And they might get lucky,
Sure.
but they're going to burn a lot more connection than they're going to make.
Yeah, and I always like to say, it's not really kind, but desperation stinks. And so, if you're coming at me with that kind of energy, automatically I'm defensive because typically when I feel sold to, it's like it's a trick. There's something up your sleeve or I'm falling for something. And I think most of us have so we've outgrown the elevator pitch basically in a way. So there was maybe 10 years, a decade that it worked because people weren't immune to it, but we've grown an immunity to it. So
Yeah.
now I'm more like, I do get kind of a little bit cut to the chase so I can say no, but not so I can say yes.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. Is when someone's pitching me, I feel the need to swing.
Yeah.
It's kind of like baseball, right? If
Yeah.
someone's going to pitch you, you feel the need to swing. And if there's high pressure behind that pitch,
It's a no.
it's a no. It's a
Yeah.
swing for a no. And I have an additional behavior on that is I won't check my LinkedIn inbox. And I'll
Mm.
just I don't know you, delete,
So
delete,
you
delete,
won't
delete,
even give
delete.
it a chance.
Not a
And
chance.
I'm guessing there's a lot of people out there like that.
Yeah, not a
That
chance.
it's too much, it's inundating, who has the time? Um, so what would work instead? So give me the in on how do I not make the delete box in your LinkedIn?
Well, I think it's important to go for the connection. So read someone's profile
Mm-hmm.
and say, "Hey, I saw that you're really into this. You know, I'm curious about it. Could you tell? Do you have time to share with me about what you do? Just open it up." And that probably wasn't the best example because you don't want to close off the question like that. No, because I can say, "Do you have time?" No.
Right.
But you know, I could, for example, I'd look at your LinkedIn profile and I say, Christine, I see, you just got your license, congratulations.
Whoop whoop.
you
Still
know,
celebrating from home in isolation, unfortunately.
exactly. So I would start with a congratulations and then I'd say, what's next for you?
Oh, okay. I like that.
So now I'm opening it up. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm opening up to get to know you, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
keeping it on a professional level. So, I'd look at your profile. I'd say, I see that she's celebrating, she just received her license. Her license is dated 2020. She's brand new. She just got it. So I want to congratulate her. And then I want to ask her what's next. And
Yeah.
then all I want to do from there is just ask you questions. So maybe you're like, well, what's next for me is private practice. And and then I would say, what is it about private practice that attracted you?
There we go.
So I'm just
Yeah.
going to keep you talking.
Right.
Keep you talking about, well, what I love about private practice, I set my own schedule, da, 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 da. And then if you, and just at a certain point, when you're asking somebody questions, if you're asking engaging enough questions, they're going to ask one back to you.
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
If they're good at dialogue and not monologue, and I think that that's something I want to insert here,
Mm-hmm.
is there's a difference between dialogue and monologue, and
Sure.
I'm constantly teaching couples and people this. When you're monologuing, it's I have the floor. As long as you're keeping eye contact, I'm just going to keep going. And even if you start showing cues, you look away, your feet start pointing toward the door, that you're done, it doesn't matter. I'm monologuing, I'm kind of on my thing, and I'm just going to keep going. That's not good communication skills. And in fact, people really get turned off by that, including your partner, your loved one, your children.
Right.
So,
Right.
dialoguing is you've asked me a question, I've answered thoughtfully. It took a second, and then I ask you a question too.
Mm-hmm.
So if you really were, if we were talking about you and you said, "What's next for you?" I would probably answer that with curiosity and go, that's really great that you asked me, and I'm curious what your interest in that is.
Mm-hmm.
So, how
Mm-hmm.
are we connected here? Especially in the digital age, I'm not big on telling everyone everything,
Right.
right? Like the
Mm-hmm.
online dating, when I'm coaching people on online dating, I say, hold your hand to yourself.
Right.
Say as little as possible until you get to meet that person, because you really don't want some stranger knowing everything about you, what you did that day, your favorite food, your favorite color, what your routine is, all the things. And you never meet them, because that's a typical thing that happens in online dating specifically. You can spend weeks doing that and never meet the person, and all of a sudden they have so much information on you. So dialogue is really, it's the bounce. It's me, it's you, it's me, it's you, and then we're figuring out how we can help each other.
Yep, exactly, exactly, and that's the importance too when you reach out. So if you're looking to reach out, that you be targeted and you be intentional about the discussions that you're having. I think one of the big issues that I had when I started my business was that I was trying to be a consultant to everybody. So
Mm.
I was trying to serve everybody. Therefore, I would have an idea and I would be like, well, I'm going to connect with HR managers now. But I didn't have any idea of how to work that bounce. And when I had a better idea of how to work that back and forth bounce, that's when I really honed in on how to build connection. And part of knowing how to do that bounce is knowing, kind of why you're in the conversation in the first place. What attracted you? What do you want to get to know? What value do you think you can provide? And it's not about pitching them that value immediately, but it is about knowing. It is about knowing that value. It's about understanding that value and having an intention and a purpose and a warmth to you. So yes, being open to where the conversation is going to go,
Hmm.
but at the same time, not just talking to anybody who crosses your path about that, not just doing that. So being intentional in the conversation, but also being open to the conversation and where it's going to lead.
Right. And I like how you really started this from the beginning of it's a conversation.
Yeah.
It's not a pitch.
Hmm.
Um, people will remember you. They're gonna like you, whatever business you're in. They're gonna, if I change agencies, if I change what I'm doing, it's not about the agency that I'm representing. It's about me. And so bring yourself, because your title may change, your job may change, but you're still going to be out there networking. Or you never know when an opportunity can come just because of how you presented.
Exactly, exactly. And I was on the phone today with a headhunter who was looking for a director of communication for a company. And I agreed to have the conversation with him, not because I was immediately in the market, and he could see that by my LinkedIn profile that I was not immediately in the market, but that I wanted to know about the opportunity so that if there was anyone I knew who was in alignment with,
Yeah,
I could refer to him. And I think we all need to be in the mode right now of helping each other out, of not looking at everything like, oh, I'm not going to talk to you because I'm not in the job market. Well, are you in the market to connect with another human?
absolutely. And I think that's so imperative too. So if we're supporting each other, local business, small business, big business, it really doesn't matter. As you said before, we're all in the same boat. Everybody's kind of feeling things out right now with a lot of unknowns. And the best thing we can do, I mean, imagine that you are the person that connected your best friend or your partner with the new job just by having that one conversation.
Exactly.
And we really never know who the other person knows. And I think it's really important to keep that in mind. We don't know who other people are, we don't know who they know. And even if you're in the carpet cleaning business and I'm a therapist and you really see no connection up front, you never really quite know. And it's that relationship. Because down the road, he may know somebody that needs me, I may know somebody that needs him. And what a beautiful gift we can give to our community and all the people that we've just known by chance or luck or by time to help everybody out, like you said.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. And, I have to, encourage you and that you're such a great people collector. You really are. You
Thanks.
really bring people together. So I think that that's important to understand that it's not about what can you do for me today. It's
Yeah,
just let's connect.
let's connect.
Let's just connect. And that's
Take
what this is
take the
all about.
outcome out of it.
Yes, take the outcome out of it. And I think that's all kind of the breath of fresh air that we need right now because we don't know the outcome of
Yeah.
today's times. So,
But I know that if I contribute to your business and you contribute to mine, I sleep better that night. I like who
absolutely.
I am that day.
Absolutely. We hope this episode has been helpful to you. This has been Business Therapy, healing businesses from the inside out through communication and emotional intelligence. I'm Diane Hansen, management consultant.
And I'm Christine Salvo, marriage and family therapist, certified hypnotherapist, and a mediator.
Have a wonderful morning.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.